Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Arlethea. So for this one, I decided to do some moths. So my original idea was I was going to have a butterfly and two moths on top of some mushrooms, was the original plan. And then I thought, you know what? Let me switch over to Luna Moths because they're kind of a big deal. So let me just try drawing them for like the first time. So then I changed it to Luna Moths. I still wanted to have three. So I was looking at reference pictures, and essentially most of what I saw was that the wings were in three different positions. So I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool just to draw them in the different positions, just kind of showing how like the Luna Moth tends to hold its wings. So that's what I did. So yeah, so you got that top one on top mushroom. He's the big boy. He's actually my favorite one. I think he actually turned out the best. But he's got his wings, you know, we're going to see the bottom wings with the tails underneath the actual top of the wings. The middle one, which I'm drawing right now, is kind of, you still have that back view of the Luna Moth with the top wings spread out because it looks like the top wings cover the bottom wings. So that way, this way you can see both of them. So that way the bottom wings are still poking out and you can see them. But the top wings are kind of spread open just to kind of give that effect. So that's what I was wanting to do there. It was a little tricky trying to draw the wings though, just because of how they look. And like even the tail parts were kind of interesting for me to try and figure out how to do. But we got there in the end. And then like with the mushrooms, I was just trying to do some fancy like little looking mushrooms, not regular ones. But the third Luna Moth down there is, it's just got the top wings where we can see, and it's got the bottom wings tucked underneath, so you just get the ends of the tail sticking out. I think is how you would like normally see like a generic Luna Moth, as with the wings in that position. So that's what I was just wanting to stick with. But when I was doing these, I was trying to get the details in that I saw on the pictures a little bit, just to kind of help push the detail a little bit, and then try to make them like, you know, look like fluffy with their antenna and stuff. I think it's funny how their antennae are even fluffy too, like with the rest of it. So that's what I had going on there. But yeah, I don't know. I was just having some fun with the mushrooms. I just wanted to make them a little bit different than a normal mushroom. So they were pretty fun to do. I was also trying to put the little eye spots in there as best I could, just so that way I could have them for... That was me just looking to see, like, did I need to fix anything? But yeah, I just wanted the little eye spots in there just to put them down, since I know that's what Lunas have. They're not that big, but they're big enough that you can still see them. Yeah, so this is me still trying to go back and figure out the tails, because the tails were causing me problems. So then we have this part. So this is the coloring now with the markers. But you can kind of, underneath my hand when it moves, you'll see the little Luna Moth. So I think this was on either watercolor or mixed media paper, but this marker is also just dyeing itself. But with the colors, I want to kind of keep them relatively muted, if you will. I guess not muted, but like just not use that many. I only use 5. So I actually kind of went off the Luna Moths for the most part. I probably should have done the whole Luna Moth color, but I just didn't. Because Luna Moths are that green, white, purple, yellow, and red. Like, they have a little bit of red. It's, like, on the throat. I don't know what that part is, but it was right there on the throat. But I chose instead to use 3 of the Luna Moth colors, plus a pink and a blue. Which to me, kind of figured would work better than, like, adding, like, red in there. Because, you know, red's kind of powerful, and I feel like it just wouldn't have looked nearly as good. So I just went with the pink to kind of give, like, a softer, you know, reddy touch. And I didn't put the yellow in there because I personally don't like working with yellow. I just think to me, it's just kind of difficult and weird. And they already had white in there, so I was like, that was already like one light color. Well, that's what I did. So I didn't do like the actual like Luna Moth coloring. I just kind of picked the colors. But it still kind of worked out. So, but yeah, I mostly just stuck with the green, and then I had the white, and then I just had the purple, because I thought those worked the best with the pink and the blue. I put the blue on there because I just saw like the mushrooms as being like partly blue, so that's why I put the blue. And so, just trying to make it look a little bit better to look upon versus like having something kind of outrageous and just making it harder to look at. Because I know the pink and green are probably still kind of contrasting a little bit, but I think it still kind of works, you know? Because they're not like super, like they're not fighting too much against one another. They still kind of complement, because I think they're both like on the lighter side, so it kind of helps. And pink isn't like directly contrasting the green. I mean, here it probably is, but I still think it looks better than if I put a red down, like the red versus the green. I think it still looks better. So again, yes, my markers are dying. They're slowly dying, but it's fine. We're getting the base color down, which is a little more important, because it gets covered up anyway. I just put it down just so that way I can see where the colors are. Whenever I actually start like the full coloring, I can kind of just quickly put them down, so I'm not wasting too much time. And that way it kind of helps me also to see when I do pictures like this, how much of one color I've already used, so I know whether to keep doing that or not. Or if I need to like switch over and do something else. That's what I kind of like to do. But with the coloring the Luna Moth wings, it was a little difficult because they're on the lighter side, but it's like I don't necessarily do like light things. If you see my other stuff, like to me, I have like rich dark colors is what I like doing. So having the Luna Moth with like their paler green wings and stuff, I was like, I don't know about that. But I was also trying to like do the darker parts of where it was kind of like touching stuff, just to kind of give the feel that it is above things. So that way because like, I want to say the wings were still kind of a little bit see-through. So I was trying to give that effect of you're still seeing things, even though it's not necessarily apparent, like that bottom Luna Moth where I have the top of the wing and like the bottom towards the body is a little bit darker. Because to me, that's going to be closer to the object underneath, so it'll be a little bit darker in that area. Even coloring the purple was interesting because like the wings are relatively flat, but like I didn't want to just make them flat. You know, like I still want to give like some dimension. So I was almost kind of acting like the wings were curved in at the ends, just like they were kind of like bent, just to kind of put some shading down. But like with the green here, you can kind of see how I was putting more color in like towards the areas where it was like touching stuff a little bit more. Again, just to kind of give the feel that it's on something and we're kind of seeing it underneath. When I do the pencil, it helps lighten it up a little bit so it doesn't look nearly as bad. But, so it's not too bad. Even the white kind of looks okay because I was kind of going with like lighter colors a little bit, which did kind of help. But like, I think overall the colors so far do look good together. Again, because they're not like super contrasting, but it's also like they're not very similar either. So to me, it's a good little mix. Now with the light greens, I did go in with a yellow chartreuse. Like you can already see how the Luna Moths will look with the pencil. Like again, I kind of lightened them up a little bit. But I use a yellow chartreuse, a spring green, and I think a grass green. Because the grass green was dark, but it wasn't like super dark. Because normally I would probably use like an olive green. But again, because the olive green to me is darker. But because I was still trying to keep like the Luna Moths on the lighter side, I just kept with this grass green. Because you can see like it's dark, but it's not like overpowering. Plus it helps. And then I did go back in with this indigo blue. Because I actually put it on everything. Because to me, at that time, it just wasn't dark enough. Like, I still wanted it a little bit darker. And, like, whenever I do my dino minis, or, like, my little mini comics, if you've seen those too, because they're on here, I actually will use indigo blue as my shading color. Because I try to keep them on, like, the easier side to do. Like, not super detailed, but, like, detailed enough, I suppose. And when it comes to coloring, I don't do a whole bunch. I just like the indigo blue because I feel like overall it works very well as a shaded color for like pretty much any color. I guess except for black. But I have a different situation for black. But it's just like with everything else, I just feel like it's a very good shading color. Like even with that pink in there, like you can see it makes it darker, but it doesn't like stand out like too much. It also helps that I blended it out. Like I even put it back in with the blue too, just to darken up the blue. Because the blue I had a cloud blue, true blue, and a Copenhagen blue. Purple, I use like a light gray, a lilac, and I think dark purple. Pink is a light pink, a pink, and probably like a magenta or something. And then white, I stuck with a white, a light gray, and then a darker gray. So I want to say like probably like a 70%, no, not maybe 70% cool gray probably. And then I just kind of blend them out. But I just feel like having that indigo blue in there, like it helps, but it doesn't like overpower. Like I did put some of the indigo blue in the wings a tiny bit, but nothing like super crazy. So I can still kind of keep them on the lighter side. Which again, I think helps. But I actually use a light gray with a purple for a highlight because to me, when it mixes, I think it actually works really well. Like, that's just me. I think I used to actually do a yellow because yellow was kind of lighter, but it didn't look as good. Like, it kind of did, but I was like, eh, it's not my favorite. So then I just started using gray, and I was like, oh. I was like, for me, this actually looks a lot better. So I just kind of stuck with the gray. And that's with this lilac color and a violet that I have. I just stick with the gray. Because for me, I'm like, it works really well for what I need. And I just think it blends a little bit better. But with these like little spindly doodads, I just kind of wanted to have them like when they're like curving or like the one in the very back, just a little bit more in shadow. Just to kind of give a little bit of depth. Plus it's underneath this big mushroom. So I was like trying to add a little bit of variation. Just a little bit. Nothing super crazy. But it probably could have been a little bit more. That's just what I was doing. But with this pink on this mushroom, like you can actually kind of see like in those darker parts, that's where the indigo blue is. Again, I still think it works because it just, to me, just gives it a little bit of extra shading that I need. Just to kind of help. So it's not like super blended and you can kind of still tell where the shadows are. Because that's just what I prefer. And to me, it just gives it that semi-realism appearance that I need. Oh no, this wasn't. Oh no, I used a red. Was it Crimson Lake probably? That's right. I want to try a red with the pink this time because I feel like if I do like a magenta or a processed red, it's too close to pink. So it doesn't like stand out nearly as much. But using this red with the pink, I think actually turned out better because the red's darker. So it gives more of a shadowy depth to the pink. That's what it was. So I was experimenting a little bit with these colors. Nothing super crazy. But I was like, let me just try something a little bit different. Which in some other stuff I'm doing, I'm actually shading a little bit differently too. Which you'll see eventually. But the blue, I kind of just stuck with my normal process for blue. Just because I'm like, the blue just works really well with the way I do it. So I'm like, I didn't really want to change that. I was just trying to fix the pink a little bit just to make it a little darker. Because I was like, I gotta try something. So, but I think it worked overall. But with the top of it, I just wanted to have it a little bit more in shadow because a big Luna Moth is on there. I just love that Luna Moth so much. I think he turned out the best. I just love his like big hairy chest and everything. I can't. They're so fluffy. I love it. He's definitely my favorite. But that purple thing that I have on his neck, that was actually supposed to be red. But again, because I'm trying to keep within like minimal colors, I just turned it to purple. But then I put the white back on there just to add in like some extra highlights because I've tried to with white gel pens before, but because I use pencil, it clogs it up for me, so I just can't do that. So I just use the white there instead as just more of like a subtle highlight. Plus I also just use like a regular like highlight base anyway. So just by adding that white in there, just gives it a little bit more of a subtle highlight. So it just lightens it up a tiny bit without being like too crazy, but I think for me it still works with like my style. So, because I'm like, I don't need to have all those white gel pens and stuff. And I've tried to use those in the past, and I've definitely gone, like, overboard with it. So, I'm like, it's probably good I can't use them. And just stick with the white. But I'm going back in with that graded color of the purple just so I can try and blend it out a little bit more. Because as you can see with markers, I don't really blend them out because I'm like, I put pencil on top anyway. And I feel like because I don't blend out the markers, it gives a little bit extra underneath. Just so it's not like too, I don't know. I guess because it's just not too blended, so it just kind of helps make it look a little more interesting. Because there is like multiple depths to it than like just like 2 or something. So for me, like at least with the way I do things, I think it works out really well. I do like it when stuff does get very blended, because sometimes by accident, I pick the right markers and they blend together with no problem. So I just kind of go with it. Other times I don't do that, and I'm like, alright, whatever, we're going to move on. I'm like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's alright. So, but I'm putting this yellow chartreuse back on here just to kind of lighten up the wings a little bit. But you can see on that bottom wing, I actually drew in the back, the top wing a tiny bit. And I think in that area, I do make it a little bit darker, just to kind of help with the overlapping wings. Yeah. So not like too crazy, but like enough that you can kind of tell. But I was also like trying to give it almost like a glossy kind of feel, I suppose, where there is a little bit depth to the wings still, even if it's not like a ton. Just so they're not like flat, because I'm like, I think that's one reason why I don't like doing like wings, like butterfly wings like this and stuff, is because they're just flat to me. So then you kind of got to figure out, well, how can you make it a little more like 3-dimensional is the problem. That's why I was like, creative liberties. Like, I know the Luna Moths wings are fairly light, but I'm like, I'm going to have to do something to give it a little bit of an extra feel versus it just being there. So that's what I was doing. But went back in with the white, mostly to kind of bring back out the white parts because they got a little bit darker. But again, just add in that extra highlight I need. So that's where we are with this. But I don't know, still looking pretty good. Like, I think the colors work out really well. So he's not too bad. But I will say, though, that this is also going to be part 1, technically. Because I'm also going to turn this into a painting because I kind of wanted it both ways, but I couldn't decide. So I was like, I'll just do both. So I am. I'm currently in the process of working on part 2. I'm not even halfway done yet, but we're getting closer. I don't know when it'll go up. It might not go up next week. It might be the week after. So we'll see. But if you're interested in more, I do dinosaurs, dragons, fantasy, comics, and characters. If you want to tag along in my adventure. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!